Welcome to Reframe, the podcast where we're redefining what's possible, one mindset shift at a time. I'm Jess, your guide on this journey to help you to rewrite your story and transform from the inside out. Let's dive into how small changes in the way you think can lead to big changes in the way you live. Hello, welcome back to Reframe, the podcast. I want to start by saying a huge thank you for all of the feedback, all of the love on the launch of this podcast. So we launched with the first 3 episodes last week, and I've had so many wonderful messages, so much amazing feedback. I've cried so many happy tears, and it just means so much that you guys are really enjoying this podcast and that you're taking something from it. So thank you. And let's get into this episode. Hopefully this one is as well received. I'm going to be talking about my favourite analogy ever. Rain is rain. And we're not talking about the weather here, although I do want to talk about the weather as well, because there's a reframe with the weather that when you fully believe it, when you fully instill it, it's going to stop you complaining about something that I can almost guarantee 90% of you complain about on at least a weekly basis, especially if you live in the UK. And complaining is not the energy you want. Here's why. You can't manifest from a place of complaining, of judgment, of lack, especially when it's about something that you can't control, because when you complain about something you can control, you have the option to do something about it. Many won't and many don't, which makes it a useless thing to do. But if you choose to, complaining can fuel action. It can be a catalyst for change. It can alchemize into something you do want. But if you don't let it be a catalyst or a tool for change, or you're not open to letting it be, or you don't believe that you can let it be, it's just a tool to keep you stuck. You're using it to keep yourself in your comfort zone. It makes you feel powerless, in victim mode, in blame of others, but also of self. We often complain about ourselves, taking full accountability of our perceived shortcomings, but doing nothing about it. Not using that desire or that realization of our complaining to move. And remember, if you listened to episode 2 and episode 3, change is good. And you can do it with such simple 1% shifts. If you haven't listened to those episodes, please do after this one. But then there's complaining about things that we can't control. For example, the weather. And funnily enough, just as I started saying this, it has started to rain. Unless you move somewhere hotter or colder, if maybe you already live in a hot country and it's the cold that you want, it's the hot that you're complaining about, unless you actually do something about it, it's just such wasted energy. And that energy sits, making you feel powerless, putting your focus into the wrong things. It also becomes habitual. And it's avoidance of focusing on the things that you can change, the things that you can control, and that you can appreciate. We do this, we sit in complaining energy without action when we don't believe we can change. We don't believe we're worthy of more, or that we're enough. We believe that we need to make others who are complaining feel comfortable. We'll get into this more shortly, but it's not a vibe. So, the analogy, rain is rain. Okay, I want you to imagine you've woken up and it's your child's birthday party and you're hosting it outside. There are loads of kids coming, outdoor entertainment, it's an outside event. And you look out the window and it is pouring with rain. Typically, your thoughts might be, oh my God, the day is ruined. I'm going to have to cancel the event, or it's going to be a washout. I bet loads of kids don't turn up. All the mums are going to think that I'm a rubbish mum because I've planned an outdoor party and the weather's bad. The kids are going to hate the party. The kids aren't going to want to be friends with my kid anymore. My kid's going to be really disappointed. Oh, the whole party is just going to be ruined. Down the road is a farmer. And this farmer hasn't had rain for their crops for months and months and months. The crops are drying up. As a result, the business is drying up, there's tension in the family, they're really struggling financially. When that farmer wakes up and sees the rain, they are like, thank you, God. Thank you for this rain. Oh my God, my crops are going to be able to grow now. We're going to be able to sell our fresh produce. We're going to be able to financially survive. This is going to take away so much of the stress that's in my family. Those two people are experiencing the same rain. The rain is the same, but they are perceiving that rain in two different ways. And this shows that there are infinite ways that you can view one thing, one experience, one act. A child might wake up and be buzzing that they get to jump in puddles today. A woman may wake up and be fearful because she doesn't like driving in the rain. A man might be excited because he just got a new raincoat. That one thing, that rain, can be perceived in so many different ways. But you can always simplify it to its two ends of a stick. Imagine you pick up a stick and the stick is the stick, the rain is the rain, but there are two different ends to it. One of empowerment, of positivity. I don't really like to talk positive and negative because, again, there are different ways to perceive everything, and something that can be so perceived as negative to you could be so perceived as positive to someone else. But you can have the end of empowerment and the end of lack. And also just the neutral end, like just having the stick just there. You get to choose which end of the stick you focus on. So in this example, the mum who's woken up and it's raining, she could see the empowerment side of, wow, this is going to be a real challenge for me. Or, oh my God, I'm going to message all of my friends and tell them to bring their kids wellies and they can have a puddle jumping competition. And, I get to test out that tent that we bought last summer and we haven't been able to use yet. Or she could look at it as lack, in the example that I said earlier. Or just neutral. Go with the flow energy. Okay, I can put up the tent. It's fine. The weather's a little bit different than what I expected it to be. I'm prepared, willing to adapt, not shocked or discouraged that this natural ecosystem that we live in is doing what it's supposed to do. The thing is the thing, the stick is the stick, rain is rain. The perception of it is up to you. And this really does take the power from the thing, whether it's controllable or not, to you. Not pressure, but power. And there's such a well-used phrase, it is what it is. And I'm sure that so many of you have used this, but I wonder if you use it, do you fully believe it? When something gets cancelled or doesn't go to plan, do you say, it is what it is? From a place of trust and being open to alternative journeys, or from a place of disappointment, frustration, hidden sadness, anger, saying it is what it is, but your thoughts and energy are actually desperate to control the outcome? Are you masking those feelings with the words, it is what it is, to avoid being seen as upset or bothered, to avoid being seen as disagreeing, to avoid being seen as a human? Because it's normal to feel disappointed, angry, all of the human emotions. But there is power in feeling these things openly. Typically, when we feel these things and we let them run their course healthily, we don't suppress them and we don't cause triggers in the future. And we also end up feeling them less anyway. But I'll talk about that more on another podcast, all about feeling our feelings and letting them run their natural course. But yeah, there is power in truly allowing yourself to feel whatever the feelings are, but then from a place of belief, saying or thinking, it is what it is. And actually meaning it. That is disappointing, but it is what it is. Oh, I'm quite angry about that. Allowing yourself to feel the anger, but it is what it is. I trust. Let's see how this alternative journey goes. And what you'll find is the more you shift your belief around, especially things that you can't control, it becomes more automatic. And actually you start thinking it is what it is without the initial disappointment, fear, desperation to control. And I'm personally feeling this so much in so many areas of my life right now, and it's such a beautiful transformation from the anxious control freak that I once was. I'm feeling it in parenting, work, the weather, my body, co-parenting, dating. And I just noticed a real natural ease. And I'm not saying at all that I'm super chilled, because I have my moments, but the need to control, the reactivity, the being influenced by external influences has significantly reduced. Now, you can either use this knowledge that rain is rain to shift to a different or specific belief, or you can use it to simply release your current belief and reframe it to trusting the universe, trusting that what will be, that you can't control the uncontrollable, but you can control how you perceive it and how you respond to it. But there are so many things you can control. And sometimes asking yourself when you're feeling, anger, sadness, or thinking about things that you want to be different, what is the thing here? Like, what is the stick, the rain? How am I perceiving this? Because that's not the truth or the fact, it's my perspective. How can I separate those two things, what is and my perspective of what is? So let's get into how we can do this. So the current perception you have of anything in life is fueled by your belief system. And this is created via your past experiences, what you're exposed to, especially when your core belief system was being created in early childhood by parents, by the education system, the media, social media, government, relationships. I say early childhood, but they can be created at any age. The first step to a reframe is awareness. Now, this is my signature process, the ARA process. I'm going to run you through it now. There's so much more to it, but I want to give you a simplified version. So the first step is awareness of the current belief that isn't serving you. And doing this consists of noticing how it's impacting you, where it came from, how it makes you feel. So you're really building an awareness of what that belief is. Then we move on to accountability. And this is noticing how this belief is manifesting into reality through your words, your thoughts, your actions, your inaction. And it's also looking at why and what it's giving you. Because everything, even if it's an unserving belief, is giving you something. Ultimately, it will come back to safety. It's keeping you safe. Usually keeping you in your comfort zone, keeping you safe from rejection, from abandonment. Those are typically what it comes down to, but they'll be so personal to you. Then we reframe. We create powerful reframes. What belief would serve me better? And we want to give proof of this new belief while disproving the old belief. Almost as though you're trying to convince yourself. This is why this new empowering belief would be better. And look, there's all of this proof of it. And also looking at how would life be with this new belief. We want to kind of dangle that carrot. It's got to be worth reframing. And then we instill that with action. So how can I instill this reframe? And we do this through different healing modalities. So journaling, affirmations, nervous system regulation, but also thinking differently, speaking differently, acting differently, and setting yourself up for success to do those things. And I spoke about setting yourself up for success in the 1% effect, so definitely go back and listen to that one if you haven't already. So let's see how this process, the awareness, accountability, reframes, and action would work with, for example, rain, having a limiting belief around rain. So I used to believe that the rain and the cold were awful. Horrible weather, they ruined my day. I would say things like, this weather is grim, it's vile, oh, it's so disgusting out. I'd cancel plans. My whole mood and vibe would shift. So those are kind of examples of how that belief manifested into reality for me through my thoughts, my words, my action, and my inaction. So I looked at where it came from. Parents moaning about the weather, The media, news, in the UK especially, the rain does not get a good rep. You could probably just spend a day out and about in the UK and you'd hear someone moan about the weather. I also looked at what it gives me to have that belief, because a limiting belief will always give you something, and it usually comes down to the really primal desire and need of safety and survival. We'll go through this in another episode because it's honestly so fascinating, but our brains are these Stone Age brains, but we are living in a modern world and it's just fascinating, but I don't want to get sidetracked. So I looked at what it gives me to have that belief, and usually it was just to have something to say, to resonate with someone that was complaining about the weather, or to avoid focusing on what I could control and change. Because I feared rejection and I feared failure, I didn't want to step out of my comfort zone in other ways, so I picked on putting my energy into what I couldn't control instead. Because, you know, if you're focusing on and moaning, complaining about something you can control, you're at risk of someone saying to you, do something about it then. When you're moaning about something you can't control, it's really easy to be enabled to sit in that place of the low energy of complaining. Also, it was just a habit. And part of me didn't want to offend someone else by disagreeing or by being that kind of toxic positivity vibe. But it's not toxic positivity to not join in with complaining, with negativity, with gossip, with anything like that. Then I reframed it. Rain is rain. It's weather. It's not bad or good. It just is. I can choose, though, to see it as good, that it grows the crops, that it's an excuse to wear my nice coat or to stay in and be cozy. And then the action to instill the new belief around rain being rain. This could be things like finding examples of the beauty of the rain, how amazing rain is. It could be following accounts of people on social media who do really amazing adventures in the rain, or who just share really beautiful videos of the rain. It could be buying beautiful wellies and a really lovely raincoat that you want to and you get to try out. It could be learning about people who have a different belief around rain, you know, people who live in countries that have droughts and would love to have as much rain as we get here in the UK, just to see how amazing it is and what a blessing it is. It could be learning about the magic of the planet. And really importantly, planning and implementing reframes, because you can reframe at home in your journal all you want, but in real situations, if someone says, oh, the weather is so grim, and you go off on, yep, it's ruining my day, it's awful, it's rubbish, that reframe that you've done in your journal has not worked. You have to commit to noticing and switching the thoughts and the words. So when you notice that you're saying, oh, it's raining, notice that. Even afterwards, even if it's a few minutes afterwards, and switch it to, but rain is rain. Oh, but it means I get to try out my coat. And also switching the action and the inaction. If you notice that you're about to, or you've just cancelled your plans because of the rain, don't. Go out in it. Or cancel the plans, stay in, do something cozy, but switch the focus to how excited you are to stay in rather than how much the rain has ruined your plans. Okay? No shade on the rain. You just blow dried your hair and you'd rather stay in. That's it. Neutral. Honestly, now when someone moans about the weather, I can't resonate to it, and not in a judgy way. It's just different to my beliefs. You like crisps, I like chocolate. You don't like the rain? My belief is that the weather is so natural and mind-blowing. We live on a planet. The planet has weather. The weather is an ecosystem that allows us to live on this planet. It's awe-inspiring. It's magical. We're in nature's territory. And admittedly, habitually, it is very easy for me just to agree with someone when they're complaining about the weather, and I'm still learning that I don't have to agree. Firstly, because I don't want to energetically match with complaining energy just for the sake of making someone else feel comfortable, or people pleasing, or not wanting to look like I'm being difficult or being all, high and mighty. But I don't want to engage in useless moaning. It's not good energetic hygiene. So I'm still learning what to reply. Typically, I'll just say, it's cold, yeah. yeah, it's raining, rather than trying to correct them or change their perspective, because we're not healing other people, we're healing ourselves. So it's having that balance. We're all learning. I'm still on this journey. But ultimately, everything is. Rain is. A new job is. A relationship ending is. I'm not saying we need to be non-emotional robots, nor that we have to see the silver lining in everything, because some things are shit. But there's a difference between experiencing something that makes us feel angry or sad in a healthy way and allowing it to repeat, to turn into patterns, to alter how we view the world in a negative way. So if you can use this rain is rain analogy to see, okay, this doesn't feel good. I'm thinking about or complaining about something. It's holding me back. It's impacting my life because I'm either avoiding things that I want to do, or I'm doing things that I don't want to do. And you can use it to ask yourself, how am I perceiving this thing? What is the thing? How else could I perceive this? How would someone else perceive this? And this is a great one for expanding your perspective and seeing that nothing ever is wholly bad or infinitely negative. And you can ask yourself, how is perceiving it as I currently am impacting my life? How would perceiving it in a new way positively impact my life? Because otherwise, what's the point in reframing it? And how can I instill this new belief? And this is all the work that I do with my clients and my members in Heal to Reveal, but also in a smaller scale in the Journal Club. In fact, it's what we do every month in the Journal Club. So if you're interested in those, the links are in my show notes. But my homework to you is to use the rain is rain analogy at some point in the next few days, to open yourself up to the idea that there are infinite new perspectives and you have the power to choose which one, which will ultimately impact how you experience your life. You don't have to say the analogy, but even just thinking it. And please let me know how you get on. And of course, if you enjoyed this episode, please do let me know. Send me a message on Instagram or an email. Post a story of you listening and tag me in it so I can personally thank you. And if you loved it, please do give it a 5-star rating. And thank you for listening.